Right now, though, joining us, talk food here on Food City is Jeff Grog from JPG Resources and Snack Works. It's great to see you again, Jeff. Good morning.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, so you travel around doing a few food shows here and there and talk to people like yourself that are kind of on the edge of the food industry.
Yeah, this summer was great. There's a big show in New York called the Fancy Food Show, and that's always a fun one. There's a lot of new things there, but also and it's sort of a blend of restaurant focus and grocery store focused products. So you see a nice breadth and interesting range of offerings.
Yeah. The big thing we hear about in the news all the time in the last few months has been this, meatless burgers that are being sold. Do they have some of that kind of stuff, or have you delved into that a little bit?
They did a little. That show tends to be focused really on taste and gourmet, and so there was some. But earlier in the year, we were at the Natural Foods Products West, and that was just full of things like Beyond Meat, Impossible Burger, but lots of smaller brands also in the space. And of course, brands like Worthington Foods, which is run out here out of Michigan, and Morningstar Farms from Kellogg's. And so yeah, those brands are all just, it's an arms race right now. Everybody's growing really fast, and it's interesting to watch.
Well, and I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she said, well, I've been eating non-meat burgers for 20 years. But this ain't your grandpa's meatless burger. It's not just a soy patty anymore.
Yeah, it's a big difference. I mean, you look at some of these, and the older burgers. There were some that sort of imitated meat, but not very well, and there were some that were just different. They were black bean or whatever, and they were meant to be vegetarian, but not a great analog. And with Beyond and Impossible, they're doing products that are really good analogs, and a lot of people feel like are almost identical to a beef burger. So that's a big shift in terms of the technology and the quality of the products. At the same time, there's a question about, does everybody want that? But they're selling a lot right now.
Yeah, and you come out of the lab, basically. I mean, you're a food scientist from Purdue,
Right.
which is, they know a little bit about food and agriculture there. Did you guys ever talk about that or study it or look at, ways to actually concoct a meat substitute out of thin air?
A little bit. I think at Purdue and other schools of food science like that, you tend to study a broad range, so you don't spend a lot of time on certain products unless you're in a specialty. But we did a little bit, 20 some years ago when I was in college. It was not that big of a thing. It was a very small niche. And now it's just exploded. The category is growing by leaps and bounds every year.
Well, and a lot of people, they're vegetarians for different reasons. Some for health reasons, but some because because they feel that the meat industry abuses animals. There are a lot of different reasons to go toward that. I guess the question is it's like organic versus non-organic. Will the price get to the point where people can comfortably use that? I mean, I saw one product, and I forgot what they were making, but it was, like a couple $100 or something.
Right. Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff is wildly expensive right now, and the talk is about how it's more efficient and so forth, and there are elements of that are true, and there are elements of processing is not there yet. But you can go in a restaurant, even in Battle Creek, and buy an Impossible Burger, and you're only paying $1 upcharge in most restaurants. And I think as those brands get bigger, that's one of their goals, is to be cheaper rather than more expensive. So that has been one of the knocks on the industry is the price, and that certainly is a barrier to trial for some people.
Well, it always is with any new developing food, as you well know. A couple of items that we hear about that I wanted to ask you about: jackfruit, mushroom jerky. What are these things?
So yeah, as we talk about other ways to replace products, there's the burgers, and a burger is a little easier because you can hide a lot of stuff in there because it's all ground up. But then people are trying to make vegan versions of jerky. Jerky is such a hot category now, so they're using things like jackfruit which is a more tropical fruit that has some fibrousness to it, or they're using mushrooms, or in some cases other things to coconut even, to make things like jerky and meat sticks. They give, again, people more alternatives to meat products.
Because they're so fibrous, they can duplicate the texture a little bit.
Well, I wouldn't say duplicate quite yet, but that'd be generous. But there are some that are very good. There's a brand called Pan's Mushroom Jerky. They've done a great job.
Huh.
So I think there continues to be people trying to figure out how do you create these snacks. And anymore, it's not just for vegetarians. There's a term called flexitarian, referring to people who are eating meatless meals once in a while, or who are sort of blending vegetarianism with meat eating. And so those people demand products that are really good, or they're not going to switch off.
Health trends like keto and paleo. You hear about all these different diets, but a lot of them are just low carb diets.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Atkins went away to a large extent. A lot of people don't talk about that anymore, but it spawned these offshoots. I mean, high protein has been here for a long time and isn't going anywhere. But then you look at this acceptance of fat now, and 10 years ago or 20 years ago, sugar was okay, and fat was the big evil, and now it's flipped, and a lot of people are eating a lot of fat. And there's some nutritional reasons for that are valid, and there's some of it's, who knows if it's a trend or a fad. But keto diet, and the goal if you're in a keto diet is to get 70% of your calories from fat, which is pretty amazing for most people, and fairly challenging to do.
And I think that kind of comes from Atkins. I mean, the Atkins diet advocated a lot of fat, but not a lot of fruit. And I think that's where people are migrating toward now. Okay, you can still eat some fresh fruit and still maintain that kind of a diet.
Yeah, and I think mainstream nutritionists would say, look, these diets that are pretty extreme all have their downsides, and certainly vegetables. I think I don't know if there's ever been a controversy that eating more vegetables is good and is healthy. So you can always start there. Fruit obviously does have sugar, but also has a lot of other good things too. So a good place to blend in.
Yeah, and it's not white refined sugar.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I guess that's the trick too for people like you who are in business of making snack foods that Americans want to eat. Replacing that white refined sugar with something better and making it cost effective and able to sit on the shelf and everything else.
Yeah, sugar and salt nutritionally may not be the best for you, but they're great for keeping products on the shelf for a long time. They're both really good preservatives that are natural. And so when you look at the scale of what's good and bad, often you're making a series of trade-offs. It's not as cut and dried as it would seem all the time.
Jeff Grog is with us from Snackworks and JPG Resources right here in Battle Creek. Let's start with Snackworks. Jeff, what's new over there?
Well, we've been growing really well. The team has done a great job, and we're building a second line now. So we're in the midst of that, just getting that started. Hopefully have it up and running by October, and then we'll be hiring some people. Actually, we just hired 3 last week, and we'll be hiring some more people to work on the production lines here soon as we get that up and going.
So those are like full-time 8-hour-a-day shifts, working the line, actually making the products.
Yes, yeah. So we work 8 hours, sometimes 10-hour shifts. We as we grow, and then eventually we'll go to running 24 hours. Right now we run a lot of days, 2 days times 10 hours, or 2 shifts times 10 hours.
And that's out on Roosevelt and North Avenue, that area?
Yeah, yes. The address is Goodale, so just off North Ave there behind the Arby's.
Right, they used to be a fell posh years ago. Yeah, good location. And how many people are involved in working at Snackworks?
Right now we have about 40 people, including the whole team, and by the end of the year we should have about 55 or so. So we're excited about that growth.
Yeah, that is great. And this second line now, there's not a particular product earmarked for that. You could do several different things if you wanted to.
Yeah, what we're doing is taking some of our current production that's really growing and creating a second line to support both. So we'll have a room now that's dedicated to making nutrition bars, and we'll do that a little faster and a little more efficiently. while freeing up the current bake room to be able to support some growth in the bakery side. So it'll enable a little bit of new, but for the most part, just more of what we've been doing, the same types of products.
Mm-hmm. And as far as marketing your nutrition bars, I mean, tell us a little bit about that. How do you get it in the stores? Where are your products available? And why are your products doing well, whereas there's so many on the market?
Well, so for Snackworks, we don't market our own brands. We make products for other people's brands, and they have to do the selling then. We just make it, ship it to their warehouse. They have to market it to the stores. But, our biggest customer right now is in that keto space that we talked about, and they make one of the best tasting keto bars on the market, and they're savvy marketers and sellers, and so they're out there driving that market. And, we've made some product for them, goes into Costco and Walmart, and it's not just into niche places, but into large retailers.
Well, I guess any diet that has a delicious snack bar on it's going to be attractive to somebody.
Yeah, that always helps if the product tastes good.
Tell us what's going on at JPG now. That's your company that moved downtown Battle Creek here this past winter, I guess, or was it fall?
Yeah, well, we bought the building and we've been working on renovations, and we haven't officially moved yet. We should be moving this month here in August.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just finishing touches on that. So we've got construction just finishing at JPG. We're starting a construction project at Snackworks, but we're on the cusp. We're just chomping at the bit to officially move downtown here in the next few weeks, finishing up just the last little things.
And basically, JPG, tell me if I'm wrong, exists to kind of help other people launch companies like Snackworks or similar, just food products. They get an idea. They have no idea what to do with that idea.
Yeah, I mean, we've helped companies of all kinds, and but that's largely, we mostly help brands. We do some work with other co-mans too, but we help them from the very beginning. We also help bigger companies with innovation. So there's a company called Health Warrior we worked with for a long time, recently sold to PepsiCo, doing a lot of products based on chia and other healthy seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds. So with companies like that, we'll help design their products, we'll help with their sales strategy, we'll help with their marketing and their innovation planning. So whatever they need, and we have a big team of people that help do that.
I heard you might even open a New York office.
We are opening a New York office. WeWork is, as a lot of people have heard of, is a big co-working group. They have about 10 buildings just in New York City, actually, and they're opening a new one, and they're putting in what they call WeWork Food Lab. That'll have a bunch of young companies in there trying to grow, and we're entering that space, opening a New York office, and working with WeWork to provide some education series and training to their tenants.
Yeah, America really is evolving. I mean, it's not just a meat and potatoes society like what we had in the 50s, 60s, 70s. I mean, people really do want some different choices now.
Right. I think that's what is driving the market is there's this fragmentation similar to what you see on social media. Everybody can find their own little tribe, whether it's political or whatever it may be. It's similar in food. Everybody's finding their food tribe, and they can aggregate on social media. They can get products through Amazon. In the bigger cities, you can get just about anything delivered to your door, same day or next day. So it's allowing people to have a lot of choice. And that allows companies to find that niche and grow. I mean, one of our most successful companies the last few years is selling cauliflower crust pizza. Who'd have thought that'd be a big thing? But it's a big market growing really rapidly. And it meets a few of those diet needs where veggies are good. Veggies are always good, but in this case, really just in formats that people want to eat a lot of.
Yeah, my wife makes it occasionally, and I even talked to a few people that have a secret ingredient that'll make it more crispy, and so there's a lot that can be done with that. Yeah, people think cauliflower pizza crust, are you nuts? Hey, it's not bad, and for people that want to eat gluten free or just carb free, man, it's a great alternative. Really is good.
Absolutely, and that's where I think a lot of companies come to us to say, look, we've got this idea. I can make something decent in my kitchen, but I need to make something that's appropriate for retail and that can withstand all the distribution and all those things and deliver a great product for the consumer. So that's really that's how we got started, is solving those problems with the products, and now we've built into a larger platform.
Sure, and you work for the big companies, Kellogg, Kashi, and obviously food scientists. So basically, you've got the experience to kind of know what people might be getting into with an idea, and then be able to show them here's A, B, C, and D if you want to do it.
Right. I mean, that's my background, was those companies you mentioned. We also have a lot of people from Kraft and Nestle, Conagra, General Mills. And the benefit of that is they're very well trained. Not only having a food science degree from someplace like Purdue, Michigan State, but then having training at these big companies where there's so much experience to learn from. And the people that taught me as I was coming up at Kellogg's, it was a fantastic wealth of knowledge. That just doesn't exist in tiny companies, and so that's also part of what we bring, is that experience that from you're in those gray hairs over the years, and you can help others with that experience.
One other trend I wanted to bring up that I've noticed recently is this trend of just bringing up a temporary product that interacts with pop culture. Like Kellogg's is introducing this week this baby shark cereal or something. I mean, do they expect to sell that stuff 2 years from now?
A lot of times they do, a lot of times they don't. It's hard to tell. They don't always announce if it's rotational or not, but certainly, one of the barriers in the past for larger companies was that they couldn't do quick things like that. They couldn't respond to pop culture, and they're trying to be more innovative and more nimble. I don't know if that one's meant to last or not. Generally, you would say those things ought to be an in and out, or the market may decide that it's going to be in and out pretty fast.
Well, sure. I guess the big thing is getting somebody to try it initially, and then you throw it against the wall. If it sticks, we'll go with it. It may be a cereal that a whole generation of people embrace, and it may be around like Lucky Charms.
Well, it may be a cereal that you want to buy and put in your attic, and in 20 years, it's a novelty collector's item. I don't know.
Could be. It's interesting how that happens. Well, hey, Jeff, we're out of time, but thanks for stopping by and giving us an update on Snackworks and JPG. It's great to talk food with you here on Food City.
All right. Thanks for having me again.